Roads a priority for Hela.
Been a lot of positive attitude from the locals.
Online shopping made easier.
Make purchase in Papua New Guinea.
And PC Ravens Sevens champions.
This is National EMTV News with Meriba Tulo.
A very good evening. Thank you for joining us. This is Monday's news. Roads and infrastructure are a priority of Hela province as well as law and order. The liquefied natural gas project developer, ExxonMobil PNG, under a tax credit scheme arrangement, has partnered with the Department of Works to reseal a 27-kilometer road in the province. Works Secretary David Wary says the department is pleased with the changes in the province despite law and order issues.
The 27-kilometer road section from Halimbu to Como has seen some sections already sealed, with permanent repairs of roads and bridges damaged during the 7.5 magnitude earthquake in Hela province in February last year. ExxonMobil, under its tax credit scheme program, funded 150 million kina to the Department of Works, who has spent the last 20 months rehabilitating and upgrading the main sections of the highway from Halimbu, Como and Heights. Works Secretary David Were told EMTV News this is part of the national government's priority program to see in the next 6 years the resealing and upgrading of the entire highway from Mendi in Southern Highlands Province to Koroba in Hela Province. Two subcontractors who are involved in the two different sections of the highway are Heights Gas Development Corporation and Ketten Brothers.
Obviously, maintenance of the pavements is an important component where, if you get seal, failures or cracking, it needs to be repaired, but other than that, it should last for a fair.
Hela is one of the difficult provinces in PNG for development to occur due to its geography as well as its own social problems. Despite the delays and interruptions from natural disaster, tribal fights and landowner issues, roadworks is set to be completed by June and July this year. The upgrading and resealing of Hela roads are a milestone project and achievement of the developer ExxonMobil, Works Department, the contractors and the locals.
It's been very good. It's in the early stages. Obviously, we had a fairly major tribal conflict going on. Since then, it's gradually improved. We've had issues from time to time, but there's definitely been an improvement. I've been here for 12 months now, and I see a definite change in people's attitudes. I think there was the belief that there would never be any development in this area. They would never see coal tar down on one of the roads, and there's been a lot of positive attitude from the locals.
While Hela province can be seen as a volatile area for services to take place, an umbrella company set up by 13 communities in the LNG project areas, Heights Gas Development Corporation, is leading in the role of community awarenesses for Hela people to accept changes to occur. HGDC Community Affairs Manager Poge Gewane says there has been a continuous dialogue with the locals, and with the recent resealing of the road sections, more people are accessing vital services. Mr. Gewane says people are beginning to accept changes, but the presence of the PNG Defence Force soldiers has fast-tracked roadworks to be completed.
One thing is that it's not only men, now it's the women they are involved in the game, and that is as a result of the presence of the Defence Force. And it became that the law, they see that there is a presence of law.
Vasinata Yama, National EMTV News, Mount Hagen.
Finance Secretary Dr. Ken Nangan has welcomed the appointment of new Finance Minister Sam Basil, saying this critical department would work with the new minister, especially in the areas of strengthening the public finance management system. In a statement this afternoon, Nangan said that whilst the national economy continues to face many challenges with uncertainty in the global economy, the government has clearly articulated the approach for the Department of Finance to ensure financial stability and maintain growth in the economy. As such, the department would continue to be prudent in expenditure of government finances under the minister's leadership and ensure ongoing positive economic growth, particularly to remote and rural communities, which is a core focus of government and reaffirmed by Minister Basil. Secretary Nangan added that the minister's district of Bulolo has been championing the building of infrastructure, particularly in information technology infrastructure, to support service delivery, and his experience would guide the department well in the rollout of the integrated financial management system to the subnational levels of government. Already, the minister has met with senior officers from the department with a formal handover takeover, with the outgoing minister expected later this week. Within the last few weeks, all major superannuation funds have announced their full-year results for 2018. While the message of savings has been at the forefront of their awareness to contributors, there have also been concerns raised on the level of tax imposed on member contributions. There has been a general consensus that the level of tax paid by contributors when they receive their final entitlements are too high, with calls now for the government to reconsider how member superannuation contributions are taxed. According to Chairman of Number One Super, Anthony Smare, there needs to be serious consideration on the tax imposed on member savings.
There are many countries, there are three components of your super that could be subject to tax. Your contributions going in, the income that's made each year, and the money when you take it out. Those three components. In PNG, every one of those components is taxed. In most other countries, at least one of those components is not taxed. In some countries, two of those components are not taxed. And in a few countries, all those three components are not taxed. We think that tax reform for superannuation is overdue. We think that our workers already have a significantly high burden in terms of the services they fund, with a 21%, with their tax that they pay that funds 21% of the government budget. We think that because of that, they deserve to have tax relief to help them provide for a better retirement for themselves. And at least one of those components should not be taxed.
Opposition leader Patrick Proich has called on the Prime Minister to stop further attempts to derail programs by PNG SDP in Western Province. In a statement, the opposition leader has supported calls from Western Province MPs who have acknowledged the recent High Court decision in Singapore that prevents the entity from political influence. Proich says PNG SDP is a model entity that operates like a sovereign wealth fund and has done an excellent job in nurturing its long-term fund, which now stands at over 4 billion kina. Furthermore, he has highlighted the transparency in the entity's operations with published fully audited annual reports since its establishment in 2002. In its annual report for 2017, figures showed that PNG SDP's long-term fund had grown by a credible 7% in 2017. In agreeing with the four Western MPs, Proich says instead of attacking PNG SDP, the Prime Minister should instead work with the organisation and the provincial government to ensure that the interest income from the long-term fund is spent to achieve development and change in Western Province. Moving on, for people who enjoy online shopping, BizWorld is a shopping platform that enables customers to purchase various products online. Yesterday, JM International launched the BizWorld mobile app that customers can download and use to shop online. In addition to the launch of the mobile app, JM International signed contracts with 2 local business partners.
With the trend of online shopping these days, people can just sit in the comfort of their home, office, or anywhere else to purchase goods. BizWorld is an online shopping platform introduced in Papua New Guinea a year ago. Yesterday, JM International launched their BizWorld mobile app that enables customers to shop online, a more convenient and easy way to shop for various products. Many millennials and even the elderly are opting for e-commerce instead of the traditional commerce of shopping in malls and supermarkets.
For the traditional commerce, it is no longer satisfy our people. Our people want more. We want a more convenient and cheaper way to make purchase in Papua New Guinea. This is why we have BizWorld here.
The BizWorld e-market makes it easier for people to order products online and have it delivered to them. In addition to the launch of the mobile app, JM International also announced its partnership with two local companies. Oceania President Jason Huang signed contracts with local companies Centralian Distributors and Food Station. Local partner Centralian Distributors will deliver Biswell customers' purchases with convenient addresses at their doorstep.
Traditional commerce, e-commerce can cut down all the middle costs, can let the buyer directly to buying the items from the seller. That means you're buying the same product, but however you're paying much less.
For customers who don't have a convenient address, the company is setting up counterpoints at 3 locations within Port Moresby where they can pick up their online purchases. These points will be at Vision City Mega Mall, Waterfront Food World and Garden City Shopping Centre. Patricia Chiamo, National EMTV News.
Police have issued a warning to residents in the nation's capital to be more vigilant and security conscious after recent reports of female abductions within the city limits went viral on social media. Commander NCD and Central Assistant Commissioner Donald Yamasombi said reports including that of a young girl who reportedly freed herself after being abducted at 4 Mile were not registered with police, so cannot be confirmed. However, police will not be taking this lightly and are doing everything within their means to investigate and take appropriate police action. You're watching National EMTV News this Monday. We'll have more stories after these messages. Stay tuned. Welcome back to National EMTV News. A number of houses along the Sepik River in Angaram district are underwater as villagers are expecting an increase in water levels. Reports say at least hundreds of men, women and children are affected by this. Though the high water levels are seasonal, the East Sepik provincial government announced it will be ready to assist affected communities. Over the weekend, East Sepik Governor Alan Bird teamed up with Samaritan Aviation and visited the impacted villages. At this stage, the East Sepik provincial government is planning to use internal revenue from tax collections to assist in the emergency relief exercise. This will be done through the release of funds from internal revenue through the Angaram district office. Tulay and 50 people were rushed to the Engau hospital after the buses they were travelling in crashed into each other along 7th Street this morning. The passengers said the driver of the bus travelling from town was drunk. He lost control and drove into the oncoming lane, crashing into the other town-bound bus.
This was the scene along 7th Street at around 11 o'clock this morning. The cabin area of both buses smashed upon impact, which shattered glass on the road. Police arrived on the scene and ferried some of the injured passengers to hospital. Inside, one of the drivers was trapped for over 20 minutes. Firefighters used a hydraulic jaw to cut open the cabin to free him.
Blue one name, run low. This is side lane name come. Driver must sleep or must overtake na come meeting period this side lane.
Another witness said he was at home when he heard a loud crash on the main road.
Both drivers were stuck, so yeah, we tried to help them pull them out, but then we needed something bigger to pull them, cut the bus to pull them out.
At Engau, staff rushed to treat passengers. Maurice Issa was at the back of the bus with his infant son and 9-year-old daughter when the bus crashed.
baby.
45-year-old Nicholas Keponge broke his jaw and suffered other injuries to his head. He was seated in front when the impact happened. This is the second accident in 36 hours. On Saturday night, police transported 7 passengers to Leh after a Land Cruiser which was flipped several times when the driver tried to avoid hitting a pig along the Laren section of the Highlands Highway. Lucy Kopana, National EMTV News, Leh.
40 soldiers from the PNGDF have completed a 2-month corporal's qualifying course. The course culminated with a mock battle early this morning at Nadzap outside of Leh. These spectacular images of a staged attack were filmed at first light this morning.
Part of the training was to stage a mock attack that looked as real as possible. Hours before it all began, soldiers who were part of the contingent doing the course were in a camp with their instructors preparing. Then, in the dark of night, the mock battle began. For someone unfamiliar with gunshots at close range, it would have been highly unnerving. As the party advanced and the skirmish began, flares were lit and one opposing party moved on to meet their foe. By daylight, much of the activity was over. A debrief followed, with troops carrying their wounded back to camp. This is the first time in 4 years that a course like this has happened, and it was jointly run by PNG Defence Force instructors from Lae and Port Moresby. This is part of ongoing improvements within the Papua New Guinea Defence Force. The outskirts of Lae provide an ideal training ground for the PNG Defence Force. It's also historically connected with some of the biggest battles in which Papua New Guinean servicemen fought during World War II. Scott Waide, National MTV News, Lae.
Pacific Assist, through their mission of inspiring self-reliance, has donated furniture to schools around the Pacific region. This non-profit organization, based in New Zealand and Australia, has now partnered with the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in PNG to donate furniture to schools in NCD. They hope to spread out to other regions of PNG in the coming years.
To Latter-day Saints to ask if there was any way their church could also get involved.
Pacific Assist, originally founded as furniture for schools in New Zealand, has now partnered with the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in PNG to distribute furniture to schools in the country. It is not only furniture that they hope to give, but also inspiring self-reliance.
The desk and the chairs, it gives them a greater environment to learn. We believe that by helping the principals mentor and train, it gives them also the opportunity for them to teach the teachers, so that these students are no longer learning on floors, but they're starting now to become better skilled, and then they themselves are at a stage where they're learning self-reliance.
Pacific Assist started about 4 years ago.
Back in Auckland, New Zealand, and my brother served on the council in the Auckland area, and he got a call from a principal, and a principal said, "Hey, I've got all these chairs and desks, I don't know what to do with them, I'm getting new ones."
McLean's brother immediately thought of the Pacific Islands, but did not know how to get the furniture to the islands.
Thought, why not LDS Charities? If we could talk to them and see if they could get involved and partner up with them. We're a completely separate charity, but they might be interested.
Pacific Assist has expanded its focus in addition to education, health and well-being, economic development, and humanitarian work are also part of their concentration areas.
We're in the early stages of trying to forge relationships with some of the key people in health. We're hoping to move 2 containers here into Papua New Guinea, hopefully into Port Moresby General Hospital. And then from there it will go into the outlying clinics and hospital within the Port Moresby region. But once again, these hospital beds and furniture will help the people in this location.
The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints charity in Port Moresby is now their point of contact, and the church is encouraging individuals in making full use of these opportunities.
The church does not discriminate when it comes to receiving the charitable funds. So we are willing to work with other NGOs, the other communities that have needs for basic needs such as water.
Lilian Sopera Kenea, National MTV News.
A beach cleanup like no other. Port Moresby residents are being urged to participate in PNG's largest trash tag challenge at the famous Hela Beach this coming Saturday, the 27th of April. The trash tag challenge became a worldwide initiative which inspired groups and individuals to go out to the streets and beaches and clean up, posting later on social media before and after pictures with the hashtag #TrashTag. This initiative is supported by the Port Moresby Nature Park in an effort to help keep Port Moresby City clean and rubbish-free. The first challenge, held over 2 weeks ago, saw up to 40 participants actively taking part in cleaning up the whole of Hela Beach front and surrounding areas, ridding it of non-biodegradables that washed up on the shores. With the second challenge right around the corner, excitement is building up and more people are expected to join in on the challenge and take part in making Hela Beach a clean and happy spot for families to enjoy. The challenge is also aimed at helping to teach people about better waste management within their communities. With National EMTV News, we go for another break. When we come back, we take a look at stories making headlines overseas, including the situation in Sri Lanka. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the news. Turning overseas now, Sri Lanka is on the edge a day after the horrific Easter Sunday bombings. 8 blasts killed at least 290 people. 4 hotels and 3 churches were hit by the bombings. It is a devastating blow for the island's Christian minority. CNN explains how the attacks unfolded.
Bomb after bomb, city after city. A terrifying Easter Sunday across Sri Lanka. The primary targets: 4 hotels full of foreigners and 3 churches full of Christians. One blast rocked St. Sebastian's Church at the end of Easter Mass. 1,000 worshippers ran from the horror. Lifeless bodies, blood-stained pews, debris and human remains propelled through the sanctuary into the streets.
This morning, Easter Sunday, in 2 of my churches, St. Anthony's Church, Kochikade, and St. Sebastian's Church, Katuapitiya, 2 bombs exploded. It's a very, very sad day for all of us.
Pope Francis expressed sadness and solidarity, calling the attacks cruel violence in his Easter address, offering prayers and a moment of silence for the victims.
I learned with great sadness the news of the serious attacks that today, on Easter, brought mourning and pain.
Police say more than 24 foreigners are among the dead, many of them killed in hotels in and around Colombo, Sri Lanka's largest city and in recent years a tourist hotspot. Also killed 3 police officers raiding a house when 2 bombs went off inside.
In the explosion, 3 police officers from the Colombo Crime Investigation Division were killed. The officers, 1 sub-inspector and 2 constables were killed when 2 explosions occurred during a raid at a home in Colombo where they were attempting to question the resident.
Police arrested at least 3 Sri Lankan suspects, but say the motive remains unclear. The targets and timing have the hallmarks of international terror, but Sri Lanka also has active local militias, and next month marks a decade since its bloody 26-year civil war came to an end.
I would say that this is an attack against the whole of Sri Lanka, because Sri Lanka is a very multi-ethnic, multi-religious, multicultural country, and the whole country comes together in celebration of Easter Sunday with the Christian and the Catholic community. So this is an attack against the Sri Lankanness and the Sri Lankan identity.
As a growing list of world leaders condemned the bombings, Sri Lanka's president expressed shock and dismay, calling all police officers back from Easter break, imposing an island-wide curfew, and closing schools until at least midweek. Sri Lanka's Army, Navy, and Air Force also held emergency meetings as the small South Asia island nation grappled with familiar questions in this age of terror. Why here? Why now? And what's next?
And Prime Minister Peter O'Neill has offered the condolences of the nation to the people and government of Sri Lanka following a series of devastating terrorist attacks against Christians. The Prime Minister said it is with sadness that PNG had received news of the terrorist attacks in Sri Lanka this Easter weekend. He adds that at a time when Christians were in prayer on one of the most holy days of the year, this is a most callous act of violence against the innocent, with many people have been killed and injured while in prayer and honoring their faith in the resurrection of Jesus Christ. The Prime Minister offered PNG's deepest condolences to the families of those who have been killed and injured and urged Papua New Guineans to pray for the people of Sri Lanka in these difficult times. At this stage, authorities are yet to confirm if there were any Papua New Guineans caught up in the situation, with authorities to await further information from PNG's Foreign Affairs Department. Moving on, teenage climate change activist Greta Thunberg has addressed the Extinction Rebellion in London. The Swedish schoolgirl told protesters who have been campaigning in the central city for a week that their actions are making a difference.
For a 7th day, climate change protesters were making noise on the streets of London.
Some dressed for the weather, others not so much.
The people that are standing here today and that have been here for the last 7 days have been amazing, and without people standing up and speaking up louder and shouting, no one will listen.
On Waterloo Bridge there were more arrests after demonstrators glued or locked themselves together to block the road. But around lunchtime, as protests continued, came news of a shift. In a leaked email sent to demonstrators, one organiser said it was perhaps time for a pause and a transition from mass disruption to negotiations with politicians.
But this evolving movement has no real leaders, and the message that it's time for a pause is by no means felt by everyone. We've spoken to one organiser here who says that direct action, like the kind of thing we've seen over the past week, should and will continue.
There certainly won't be a pause in our activities. The agreement that has been agreed is that we will carry on with a week of activities. We've got a whole week scheduled.
And this evening, "We love you" was the chant for the 16-year-old Swedish activist Greta Thunberg, who's inspired young people to demonstrate around the world.
We are the ones making a difference. It shouldn't be like that, but since no one else is doing anything, we will have to do so.
As night fell, police moved in to remove the last of the glued-down protesters from Waterloo Bridge, with a debate now within the movement about whether such tactics should continue. Demonstrators will hold a public meeting tomorrow to discuss their next move.
A pair of gorillas have become social media stars thanks to some stunning selfies posted by an anti-poacher ranger in the Democratic Republic of Congo. A batch of incredible images with the critically endangered animals have gone viral around the world.
It's hard not to take notice of these two endangered mountain gorillas striking such human poses. The post on this anti-poaching Facebook page has been shared thousands of times, with many supporting the efforts of the rangers and donating to their cause. But the heartfelt post belies the danger gorillas and those trying to protect them face. There are only around 1,000 mountain gorillas left, living in Uganda, Rwanda and the Democratic Republic of the Congo. Their birth rates are very low and their habitat is limited. They're killed for meat, trophies and traditional medicine, but also for the valuable charcoal resources in their habitats. After 20 years of civil war, the Congo continues to struggle, with armed militia still present and extreme poverty fueling animal poaching. Last year, here in the UNESCO World Heritage Virunga National Park, 6 rangers were killed. The park has lost more than 170 rangers in the past 20 years. Closer to home, Trevor Mallard took to social media to post a personal encounter with a mountain silverback.
He came up to me, gave me a big smile, and I think he was sort of saying, I know you think you're the chief of that group, but I'm the chief. And just put his shoulder into me and dropped me on my backside.
The Speaker of the House was on a rest day in a cross-party delegation to Rwanda, promoting business and cultural ties.
2 Australia and 2 rescuers drowned off the coast of Victoria on Sunday when their boat flipped over during an attempt to help a man who was swept into the ocean from a rock ledge.
The man was taking pictures from a rock at the mouth of the Sherbrooke River in Port Campbell National Park when a large wave swept him into the water. Port Campbell is on the Great Ocean Road, a scenic 243-kilometre stretch of road along the southeastern coast of Australia, and is one of the world's most famous coastal routes. A rescue boat with 3 aboard was deployed but flipped over in the surf.
2 members of our emergency services family have lost their lives undertaking their duties, along with one who has been seriously injured. The loss of these 2 lives is a tragedy, and I know I speak on behalf of all Victorian agencies when I say that our thoughts are with their families, friends, and the community of Port Campbell.
President of Surf Life Saving Victoria, Paul James, said that the 2 rescuers who drowned were a father and son from Port Campbell.
Very dangerous. I understand that the boat was operating in a 2-metre swell, so a very high swell, and we know that it is very treacherous down there and not the place to be swimming at all. And these brave people, these heroes, have gone out to try and help.
The surviving rescuer was believed to have sustained serious injuries, while the man being rescued was said to be in a more stable condition. Helen Sea, EMTV World News.
Yeah, with Monday's news, we go for another break. When we come back, some sporting updates in Trukai Sports. Don't go away.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. We begin with some sporting action abroad, and after back-to-back defeats, the Warriors are learning just how difficult the NRL League season could become if improvements aren't made soon. There were mixed emotions today as an injured star returned to training, while one of their most lethal strike weapons has been ruled out, forcing changes for Thursday's Anzac Day match in Melbourne.
For a squad dealing with its fair share of bumps and bruises, this was definitely a sight for sore eyes. Blake Green, a late arrival at training today, looking to prove he's overcome his troublesome groin injury.
The groin is, not something that we can, rush back from, and if not this week, definitely next week.
The Warriors haven't won since Green was injured in a warm-up 2 weeks ago. Outside back Peter Hiku has been doing his best as a halves replacement, but was singled out after Saturday's loss to the Cowboys.
Possibly a little, unfair on him last week to, throw him into the halves again.
That's why specialist half Adam Kieran was kept fresh over the weekend, withdrawn from reserve grade along with Hayes Perham. It means Hiku is off the hook, but another reshuffle could see him starting in a third different position this month. Today it was revealed he could now be playing Mr. Fix-It on the wing for David Fusitoa, who's out for at least a week with sore ribs.
It's nothing new again, I've been there before.
And where the Warriors have been before is on the losing side of their last 3 Anzac Day games in Melbourne. The Storm promising to rise to the occasion once again.
Outside of any finals appearances that we are fortunate enough to play at home, this is the biggest game on the calendar for us.
Tuivasa-Sheck's probably in his best form of his life, and we've got to look to contain players like that.
The Warriors captain has given everything to stop their 2-game slide. Hopefully help is coming from someone who knows the Storm better than most.
To rugby, and the latest talent of the rugby production line is off to the Gold Coast this evening for the next step towards the Junior World Championships in June. The national under-20 squad will take on Australia, Fiji and Japan in the Oceania tournaments beginning this Friday.
Maybe the vans these days are getting smaller, or the new rugby talent is getting bigger. The best young players in the country training today in South Auckland before hopping off to Australia.
How confident are you that New Zealand rugby is still producing very, very good talent?
I'm very confident. We've had a really great group of guys to select from.
Phil Potts in his 3rd year as 20s coach, so he's seen his fair share of talent.
I think where the gap is how do we keep those guys here after they come out of this program. There's now some pretty interesting opportunities for young men overseas.
The class of 2019 is a real mix. Caleb Bosha, a former national junior cricket captain, has already made his debut for the Taranaki rugby team.
I'll keep playing as long as I can. Obviously planning and organisation around that is crucial for me to be able to play both.
If Bosha's name's becoming familiar, what about Tane Plumtree? Born in Wales, schooled in Ireland and South Africa, named after a former All Blacks captain and son of Hurricane Super Rugby coach John Plumtree.
Sometimes I get viewed as you made the team because of the surname, but I tend to push it to the back of my mind and I work hard for it.
Whangarei's Rivers Reihana also touted to have a big future out of the St Kitts program in Auckland, now signed on with Waikato.
We've had to be somewhat of a sponge these last 2 days, so we're learning a lot.
If you thought your Easter food bill was running a tad high, what about feeding 30 under 20-year-olds? The Oceania Championships are the entree, before the main course, the World Champs in Argentina in June.
to football in the Wellington Phoenix has kept alive the hopes of a home game, but they had to do so in dramatic fashion. It was a special game against Melbourne City in the capital for departing coach Mike Redden, but his key striker stole the show.
If this was to be the Phoenix last home game of the season, fans couldn't have asked for a better finish.
On the goal line, tapped in by Roy Krishna. It is a hat-trick for Roy Krishna, and he might just have sealed it for Wellington.
Roy Krishna with the coolest of heads and the deftest of touches under pressure.
Controls the ball there, and then just the faintest of touches.
It was a record-breaking night for the in-form Fijian. Remarkably, his first A-League hat-trick, while also bringing up 50 goals for the club. It also took his season tally to 18 goals, making it the most prolific ever by a Phoenix player.
He puts the fear in God and everyone. I knew how important he was when I first came to the club. He just needed some love.
And this season, Krishna's returned the love with interest. He now stands alone as the competition's top scorer, 2 ahead of Sydney's Adam Lafondra.
Credit goes to teammates, I just had to be at the right place, right time, so yeah, happy.
But whether that right place is here next year remains to be seen, with his contract up at the end of the season.
You've got the top marksman of the competition who's been chased by every club, and they're throwing corn his way, and deservedly so.
For every goal Krishna scored at one end, Philip Curto seemed to save at the other. Although the pole was powerless to stop City's Riley McGree from picking up a double.
Philip Curto could do nothing about it, and that is an outstanding finish.
But Krishna's injury time finish ensuring the Phoenix fight for a home playoff final marches on.
If anything, it gives us that belief that no matter what the scoreboard says from a time perspective and how many minutes to go, that we can find a way to win.
Something invaluable as they head into finals football.
Trukai Sports will continue with some action on the home front when we come back.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome back to Trukai Sports. To some local rugby union, and the Sports Talk Sevens trophy will leave Port Moresby as it makes its way to the Papuan compound in Lae. This follows the PC Ravens' come-from-behind victory over Brothers, a result which got the Port Moresby crowd in a frenzy at the Bava Park Stadium yesterday to conclude the finals of the Sports Talk Easter Rugby Union Sevens.
That was the crazy fan reaction by the supporters and fans of the PC Ravens from Lae's Papuan compound after the team from Morobe won the second annual Sports Talk Sevens tournament. The Ravens came from behind to grab the Sports Talk Sevens Cup title. The Brothers opened the scoring in the first half, putting in 3 tries to lead by 19 points. The Ravens only managing a try just before half-time to trail by 17 points to 19 into half-time. A change of the game plan by the PC Ravens at half-time ensured a rejuvenated and more determined second-half performance. Ravens spread the ball to the edges, opening holes in the Brothers' middle defense line before scoring first in the second half. The Brothers' fatigue started to set in, and the Ravens pounced on the opportunity, scoring on the left edge. With the scores all tied at 19 points all, the Ravens looked to captain Max Valley for some inspiration, and he delivered a back by Valley, passing to one end of the field back to the captain to finish what he started.
Thank you, Lord. Me trust him, Lord, trust me. Second half, we play come again. Me talk about since first game plan. So we play second game plan.
Our boys all got this fighting spirit because we came far, we came long way, so it's good because we got this game as to me play. That's why we play come back and fight out of the second half.
The PC Ravens are not done yet. They look forward to be back in Port Moresby for more tournaments.
It starts from Medang. And we come this is 7th. I think we'll come back next 7th of September. The Brothers, I think. Yeah.
The crowd at the stadium was ecstatic, and faithful Ravens fans made the pilgrimage from Lae to Port Moresby to support their team.
Yeah, some of the supporters will buy ticket all to come. Some of the supporters will must be it. We to big thank you go back and lol. Lol kam samplo blomoro be sample no blomoro be sabotim. Mi bla team do le mi bla kam lo popon kompong isirewent. The big thing go back and God bless you.
Fidelis Sukina, National EMTV Sports.
The three-day Sports Talk Sevens tournament was an opportunity to promote the code of sevens rugby union in the country, and the tournament served its purpose with the public turning up in numbers to form a very lively crowd over the tournament's 3 days.
Bava Park, the country's home of rugby union, saw rugby union faithful turn up for a weekend filled with the serving of entertaining rugby union. The Easter Sports Talk Rugby Union Sevens pulling in a huge crowd of supporters who fill the air with life.
Yeah, on the first day, man, we almost have about more than 5,000-6,000 people, passing through the gate. On the second day, the same number. Probably today we'll probably have more than that. It just shows you that people are hungry to watch the sport itself, the sport of sevens, rugby sevens. So you can see that it's there. The crowd the attitude was good. The crowd was awesome. Yeah.
Major sponsor Sports Talk magazine came out with their corporate look, with branding all over the field, even a blow-up tunnel entrance in the mix. Sports Talk General Manager Benson Upas raising the standard of the tournament.
There's certain sports or few sports in Papua New Guinea, for example, Rugby League has the luxury to do that. For Rugby Union, we try to step it a little bit up as a sponsor and also the franchise owner of the tournament. For us is to take the sport or the event to the next level.
The tournament served as a pioneering platform for the under-18 sevens in Port Moresby, and it showed the skills of the younger generation is heading in the right direction.
Though they are 18, less than 18, but you can see the build, and they really are trained and slowly will get there. But the way they played in the last couple of days was really good.
Tournament director Paul Joseph praised the tournament for the family atmosphere. Even his own son could not leave him for an interview.
Great success to have all the mothers, children, everyone come down and enjoy it. I must commend our sponsor, Sports Talk, Benson and the wife, Elsie. Thank you for continuing to support rugby, and thank you to CRU for maintaining that relationship, and obviously our mother union. It's little things like this that we do at our provincial level, union levels, that the praise goes back to PNG Rugby.
Fidelis Sukina, National EMTV Sports.
And finally to Rugby League, the NCD Okapa Easter Cup ended today at the Kone Tigers field in Port Moresby. The tournament has been running for the past 15 years, with interest growing each year.
The tournament is held annually at the Kone Tigers field for the people of Okapa in the Eastern Highlands province who reside in Port Moresby.
Get all our youth together and our people together once in a while in a year to celebrate Easter by participating in sporting activities.
The men play rugby league while the women play soccer. The tournament has seen an increase in participation. The Easter competition started off with only 4 teams competing and has gained popularity ever since. This year, a team from Okapa has also joined the competition.
This year we have 18 teams, 17 teams registered from NCD, and 1 team flew down from Okapa district to take part in this competition. And we have also about 20 women's soccer teams participating at the other end of the oval here. So, everybody have chances to participate in the sport and enjoy fun and all that stuff.
Financial support has been one issue they face every year. They have received support from the governor of NCD, Powers Pakop, in the past, but for the last 2 years, organizers of the event have funded the tournament themselves.
Because he was busy, so he has played some plates, but nothing have come good yet this year. So we hope he will do something better for us.
With the number of teams and increase in participation every year, they hope to run their own tournament in the near future.
So we are trying to affiliate this compete to the PNG Rugby League. PNG Rugby League, and states are all competition by our people, particularly from Mokapa and Eastern Highlands community in the city. So maybe we'll look for our field. Governor have assured us that he will develop Gereau Sports Center. If that happens, then we will run our all competition by affiliating to PNG Rugby League.
Elijah Levet, National EMTV Sports.
And that story ends Trukai Sports for this evening. When we come back, a quick look at the weather for the next 24 hours.
Trukai Sports. Trukai Sports.
The weather details were proudly brought to you by Dulux, celebrating 50 years in PNG and the only paint made in PNG.
A quick look at the weather for the next 24 hours in the southern region. Cloudy weather in Kerma and Popondetta. Fine becoming cloudy for Port Moresby. Fine weather in Daru and Alotau. To the Momasi region, fine weather in Ley, Wau, Wewak and Vanimo. Some cloudy weather expected in Madang with a top of 31 degrees. To the New Guinea Islands region, fine in Lorengau and Kimbe. Showers expected in Kavieng, Kokopo, Rabaul and Buka. And in the Highlands region, all the major centres, Mount Hagen, Goroka, Kundiawa, Mendi and Wabek can all expect fine weather over the next 24 hours.
The weather details were proudly brought to you by Dulux, celebrating 50 years in PNG and the only paint made in PNG.
And that's the news, sport and weather for today, Monday the 22nd of April 2019. On behalf of the EMTV News team, pleasant viewing. Good night.